Okay, it's tonight's Agartha, and
4th of July, I got it.
yeah, 4th of July Agartha, and it's the yard site of first my Zayda Menachem Mendel ben Shmuel came here at the turn of the century, remained religious his whole life. Got married. I have his wedding invitation. Got married in 1906. I have his wedding invitation. Really, my father's side. It's my father's father. Stern. You remember Pop Stern? Yeah, he was in the store a little bit, and
He started on it?
no, he worked. He just was a working guy. He's a working guy, and he remained from most of his children from, and it's also the yard site of my Rebbe Zeichat Tzadik Kodesh L'Bracha, my Rebbe Yisrael Zeb ben Avram Tzvi Neshama Shadav and Aliyah. Certainly the person who made the biggest difference in my life. Just an amazing man. Just the greatest person I ever saw in my life, and he lives with me every day. I think of him, lives on, and thank Hashem for having. I had the schus of being that he called me his Talmud. Okay, we're up to Zion Amid Beis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines up. Amrei Shlakish. We were discussing, people in the city paying for the walls. They don't have to pay for the chacham because they don't have to be watched. Chsiv Esperim Mechol Yerbun and Esperim Mechol Yerbun. If I would count them, Esperim L'man. What are you counting them for? Ilim L'Tzadikim Dinafishi Mecholo. If you can tell me that Tzadikim they're more than sand, there's more Tzadikim than sand. Hashtakul Yisrael Ksivahu Kechol Asvas Hayom. Tzadikim Atzmai Mechol Yebayin. How's that possible? It's a Bnei Yisrael is like Chayil. It's possible to have more tzaddikim more than chayil? No, obviously not. Alochi kama esprim masayim shal tzaddikim. I'll count the actions of tzaddikim mechol yerbun more than sin. So the kavachaymer umach chayil shemuat magen alayom. You have a chayil that you have sand, the beach. It's able to go ahead and be. It's a little bit. It's able to go ahead and be magen on the sea. Masayim shal tzaddikim shemerubim like kol shekain shemaginim alayim. It should be magen on the sea on us. Kios the Kamei Rabbi Yochanan that when Reish Lakish came in front of Rabbi Yochanan, so he brought this and Amalei, my time Taimalei Mecha. Why don't you say from the following? Ani Chayma Shadai Kimigdalais. Again, this is the pasuk Shirshim, Dr. Press, the bottom on Zion Amid Beis, the bottom line. So Ani Chayma, I'm a Chayma V'Shadai Kimigdalais. Shadai is the woman's chest. Kimigdalais are like towers. Ani Chayma Zu Torah. These are Talmidei Chachamim. So you see, they don't need a wall. They're like Migdalis. They don't need a wall. Reish Lakish, who learned from another pasuk. In other words, Rabbi Yochanan said, "Why don't you learn from the pasuk of Shir Shirim?" Why did he go ahead and use the pasuk in Tehillim? Because he dashed in this pasuk in Shir Shirim for something else. Ani Chaymazu Knesses Yisrael. This is for the Knesses Yisrael that Rashi says, "Kulam shavan le'yin chayma v'goydru matzman v'tamim v'kechavim." Well, we put a wall around ourselves to stay away from avodah zara. V'shadai k'migdalos elu bati knesses bati midrashiyos. This refers to the shuls and the yeshivas where they'd learn. So therefore, since he used it for that, he can't use it to teach me the ma'aseh of tzaddikim. That they don't need netira. Rav Nachman, Rav Yitzchak, Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda Rama Karga Rabbanon. Rav Nachman, the son of Rav Chisda, he placed a karga head tax on the Chachamim. Amalei Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Avata Adaraisa. You over what on Adaraisa? You over on Adaraisa by the Nevi'ah. You over on the pasuk in the Nevi'im. By the Kesufim, and you over on the pasuk in Kesufim. And it's all these things you're over on because the Talmidei Chachamim you don't have to go ahead and tax them. And so therefore, by taxing them, like you're going to see it over on these Yisurim. And where's the pasuk there? Raisa the Chsiv Avchoivev Amim Kol Kedoshav Biyadecha, right? So Avchoivev Amim, even as he loves his people, Kedoshav Biyadcha, they're in his hand. Amma Moshe Kadosh Baruch Hu Banishlaylam. I feel b'shoshat Mechavev Amim, even at a time where, right, you give you shine your countenance upon the nations. So the Goyim are oppressing us. Kol Kedoshav you Biyadcha, all your Kedoshim, meaning tzaddikim will be in your hands. So do you see that? In other words, so they don't have to pay the tax. Right? And they sit at your feet. Rabbi Yosef El Tamid Chachamim Shemechatchim who walk heavily, Ragleya Meir Leir, Medina Medina, Lumay Torah. Yisa Midavay Sechad, right, receiving from your words. Lisa Belitim B'Devaisav Shal Makam. They go ahead and they spend their lives dealing in the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore, by making them pay the karga, the tax, right, you think like they don't need whatever the tax affords them. They don't need that. So that's the pasuk in the Torah. Adin V'yim a pasuk in Hosea. Yechsiv Gam Yisnu Begoyim Ata Akabtseim V'Yachelu Ma'ot Mimas Melech V'Sarim. Amula pasuk said Miloshin Aramis Nemar. Itanu Kulu. If all of them learn Ata Akabtseim, you know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will gather us in. You'll gather us in. Right, Ma'ot Mehem, and only a few people learn. Yachilu Mimasa Melech V'Sarim. Those few people, they'll be released from the masa, from the burden of what Melech V'Sarim. So again, the karga is paid for the king, and you see that from the Torah you don't need it, and from the Nevi'im you don't need it. At the Ksuvim, we had Ksuvim in Ezra. It's the Chsiv. It says Minda Beloi the Haloch Loi Shalit L'Meimer Aleim. It'll be unlawful to go ahead and put tax on them. Rabbi Yehuda Minda Zu Menasa Melech. That's the portion of the king. Again, that's the tax. Balu Zu Kesef Gulgolta. That's the head tax. Bahalach Zu Arnoina. That's the Maisa. You had a gift to the king from your produce and your animals. The bottom line is Rav Chisda, Rav Nachman by Rav Chisda was given it over the head by Rav Nachman by Yitzchak for going ahead and charging a tax. Different people, Rabbi says Rafuna, was giving them the zog for go ahead and charging them the tax. Now, Papa Rami Karya Gadata Ayasme. When they were digging wells for water, he placed he made them the assignment pay. He made the assignment pay. Amalei Rav Shisha Breder Rav Idi Rav Papa B'Dilmam Lei Midvil. Maybe you won't be successful. You know, you go ahead and you'll try to get some water out of there. You won't get anything, and you'll collect from what they'll be paid for nothing. So Amalei. So Rav Papa told him, right, Mishka shall kill minayu. I'll take from them, and he midvil. If we score water, great. Beloy madronale nalai. I'll return it to them. Rav Yehuda hakol igle gapa. Everyone has to give to if igle gapa. The gapa is literally the fence. Everyone has to give what to the igle gapa for the protection of the fence. I feel him yasmi. You'll even collect what from Yisayim. Rashi says igle gapa l'shari choyme sa'ir. The huts of men to go ahead and put walls up. You know, you have to. So everyone has to pay for the walls of the city. Everyone don't have to. Right? Everyone has to pay what for digging borers for water, right? And it's called Rashi says it's called the kli because that was the name of the kli pasya. I feel in Rabbanan because Rabbanan need the water as well. That's provided that they're not going out to dig it themselves. They're paying workers to dig it. We had this in Bab Mitzia. If the people themselves are going out to dig it, in other words, the Rabbanan would not be expected to go ahead and dig. So it says the Rabbanan would be required to go ahead and be mitzdarif, be part of this. That's only regarding payment to pay the workers because they need the water. But to go ahead and make them do the physical work, that they wouldn't do. Rabbi Pasach Eitzos B'Shani B'Tzuros. Rabbi opened up the Eitzros. His Rabbi was exceedingly wealthy. He had silos. He put away food, and in the years of Tzuros, where there was a famine, he went ahead. He opened them up. He said, "Yichnasu balei mikra." Let the people who teach mikra, teach chumash, balei mishnah, mishnayos, balei gemara, balei halacha, balei agada. Aval amei aretz al yikansu. They shouldn't come in. They should. No, the food is not marked for the Amaratzim. We'll see a Marsha in a minute. Anyway, Doch Rabbi Yonasan ben Amram. Rabbi Yonasan ben Amram was a big Talmud Chacham. He disguised himself as what? As an Amoritz. V'nichnas. Amalei Rebbe Parnaseni. Amalei Beni Karisa. Did you learn Chumash? Amalei Loi. Lav. Shanisa. Did you learn? Pasha, we say you learn Mishnayos. The Rishash says no, it doesn't mean that. I mean, and it can't mean that because if you don't learn Chumash, we assume you didn't learn that. Amalei Lav. And came b'ma Farnasecha. So what should I give you parnasa for? So Amalei Parnaseni kekelev u'ka'orev. Give me parnasa like the dog and the raven. So Parnaseh, he gave him Parnasa. Basra the Nafik after he left. Yosef Rabbi become a tzai. Rabbi was he was regretting what he did. V'amar oili shenasati piti lama aretz. I gave it to an ama aretz, and now the Talmidei Chachamim won't have what to eat. I'm the fun of Rabbi Shimon by Rabbi Shema. So his son told him Shema Yonis ben Amram Talmid Chuhu. Maybe it's Yonis ben Amram your Talmid. Shein roitz lehonis b'chaved atayra meyamav. In other words, that's why he dressed up as Nama Aretz, because he didn't want to go ahead and be nana from his Torah. So Botko, they checked it out. Ashkem, they found out it was a Yonis ben Amram. Some Rebbe Yichnasu Akol, let everyone come in. That other Talmidei Chacham should have to resort to the subterfuge. Let everyone come. And Rebbe L'Tamei, Rebbe, you said that that you don't give money to the food to Amaratzim because he had the Amaratzim caused it in the first place. Rebbe, ain't Peronius Baloilon B'Shalom Haaretz. Right, the Peronius comes to the world because of Amaratzim. Kahu the Mei Kalila. The Aruch says that the Melech had his crown stolen, and he said that the Yehudim, they were pashe in marching the city, and therefore they have to pay for the crown. The Shodi Atferia, he placed it on Tferia. Also, Kamei the Rebbe, V'amulei, listen Rabbana Badon, let the Rabbana be mitzvah to pay for the crown. Amalhu, Rebbe said, Loi. Amulei, so the people said, Aruknin will run away. So Rebbe told them, Amulei, Aruknin, go run away. So Orkel Palgeim, half of them ran away. Del Yua Palga, and the Melech went ahead and he was Michael half. Also Hanu Palgo Kamei, the other remaining half came in front of the Rebbe. Amalei, the Asir Rabbanim Adon, the half of that's left over, let them be mitzvah. Amalahu Loi. So Arukinan, they threatened Rebbe, they'll run away. So Rebbe told him, Aruka, run away. So Aruka Kulin ran away. Pashu Koives was left over, only one washerman, right, a launderer. Shadua Koives, they put the whole tax in the Koives. Or Koives, fully ran away too. Paka Klila, you know what they did? They took off the tax completely. They said it's gone. Rebbe, Reisi, Shem Pronis Baloil, Milchulam Aretz. That's the raya. That Pronis comes with some. So let's see this Rashi over here about this Kelev and the Arev. What's going on over here? So he said, "Be mefarnis me like a Kelev and an Arev." Rashi says, "Sechas Kadosh Baruch Hu Aleim." Kadosh Baruch Hu is Rachmanis on the dog and the raven. Shenemar Yedei Tzadik Din Dalim. Kadosh Baruch Hu knows the what it is for the poor person. Fisha Kelev Mizay Noisav Mu'atim. The Kelev, his Mizaynis is very little. The Fikach Shoya Achilasei B'Meyav Shloishes Yamim. The food stays in his stomach for 3 days. The Gabe Oirev, and regarding the raven, because if we say it every day, the Bnei Oirev Sheyik Ro'u. The Fisha Oirev Achsari Al Banav. The Oirev is cruel on its children. V'Kadosh Baruch Hu Masben Lehen Yitushim Mitoich Soyosa. Kadosh Baruch Hu puts worms in their poop, and they eat that. And they eat that. So you see that these particular, that the Kelev doesn't get enough food, and the Oirev is so that's what and Taisa seems to agree. So let's see. I sent out a Marsha today, guys. I sent it out. What? You probably do have a Marsha on the back. If you want to see it, I have it over here. You.
The first thing you sent?
The first thing I sent, right? Correct. The first thing, not the Rashi letters. The Rashi letters. I sent 2 things. I sent. Right? You have it? It's on the screen, guys. Afsha Philo, so it's bothered. We're all bothered by the question. How can he's not feeding the Amaratzim? What's going on over here? How do you explain that? So Afsha Philo Aniyah Goyim Mefanasim in Aniyah Yisrael. Even though the halacha is that the purpose of the Goyim could go ahead and eat with Aniyah Yisrael. Hacha B'Shani Ravoin Shahaya Kola Oilim Shari B'Tzar. Now that it was years of famine, where the whole world was in Tsar, Vamrinon Perikamidatinis, Sheyesh La'adam Mitzar Atzmayim Atzibor. A person should be mitzar himself with the tzibor. V'chol Amad Atzmayim the tzibor, V'asal Adam L'Shamesh Mitasai B'Shanim Rav. A person can't even have marital relations during the years of Ravan. L'Fisham Haaretz Eina Oisen Kain Sha'oichlin Kedei Savan. In other words, there's a difference between eating to live and eating to have your stomach full. The Amaratzim, then they're eating to to have their stomach full. They're not eating to just live. And b'shas rovin, you're supposed to eat. You're supposed to be in tsar, but you're supposed to eat a minimal amount. They mitzarim b'tsar olam. They're not mitzarim themselves like the rest of the world. They don't eat to be satiated. Therefore, Rebbe didn't want to give them. That in order they should go ahead and be what? And be pained. So Rebbe had a cheshbon. It wasn't a cruel cheshbon. It was that everyone, B'shani Rabbi, is supposed to be what? Is supposed to be in Sar. It's supposed to be in Sar. And therefore it was necessary to be mitzar them. And therefore we didn't give them. For Amalei, so what does Yonis ben Amram say? Pranaseni koirav kelef. Noked elu, says the Rashbam, why we learn these two things? Shegam b'teva hayakula masurim l'shamish mitamzeh. The sha'olam hayashori b'tzar. During all the whole time they were on the teva, Adam, remember in the pasuk it says separately, Noach and his wives went on separately because they didn't have tashmish amita. The Medrash tells us three brias had tashmish: the dog, the raven, and chum. The dog, the raven, and chum. As a matter of fact, it's a very interesting thing. What happened? The Orach Chaim HaKadosh learns a fabulous pshat. The first bird that he sent off to teva was not the yoina; it was the orev. The orev came back. The orev came back, but it doesn't say that. It says he learns that he went to feed the raven, and he found a bunch of ravenettes. So he knew that he had been a busy boy, and so he threw him off the teva. It wasn't a shlichus. He threw him off the teva because he broke the kedusha of the teva. Anyway, so these three things, the Arav, the Kelev, they were mitzarim themselves. So v'arav v'kelev leitzaru atzman v'shimshu mitasam b'teva kidamina perakhelik v'afa pikein parnasan noyach gam ata, and nonetheless Noach gave them parnasa. So al tachush lezer b'tarnaseni. In other words, so the Yonis ben Amram mentioned them. Listen, they want you want to be mitzar, right? You want to be mitzar because it's Shas Ravin, right? But when it came to the Kelev and the Arev that were not mitzarim themselves, Noach fed them anyway. So you should feed us too. You're not feeding me. Why? Because you think I'm an Oretz. Since I'm an Oretz, I'm not being mitzar with the tzibur, correct? Right? You're not being mitzar with the tzibur. So therefore, what do you say? He said, L'chayra, look, even though it was the same thing, you had the same problem by B'shas the Teva that you had to be mitzar yourself, right? Nonetheless, Noach fed us. So you should feed me as well. Maybe why he took care of himself, and maybe Noach had Rahmanas on his kid. Okay. B'shuv re'isi b'beis Yosef Yeridei Simen Reishon and Beis b'shem HaRedfa ahach uvda shahaya mitzar al shenasin pitoy lama aretz mistaber b'chiyai gavna shayishani b'tzurois u'masho ha'yoichel lama aretz yechzad l'tamid chacham. It'll take away from the Talmud Chacham. Avulav hachi ashishape comes out very, very good. So this is a very interesting marsha to explain this whole matter, the difficult matter of Rebbe not being mefarnes, and it was one of to motivate them to be mitzarif with the tsar. We'll need it for the next one. Mitzarif of the tzibur. Okay, continues the Gemara. V'kama you be'ir v'yu kansh. Excuse me.
Where are we up to?
We're up to ches, where the lines get wide, about 8 lines down, the 2 dots. V'kama you be'ir. Ches on
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining. Okay, we said that how much does a person have to be in the city? We said 12 months. And also, but however, he buys a deer in the city, then right away he's considered part of the city in order to mitzaref, to combine to pay for the needs of the city, the infrastructure of the city, the walls and such. Says the Gemara, you said it's 12 months. I'll ask you a stira. Hachameres is the people who drive chamarim, bagameles, camels. They're always traveling. Velina b'seicha, and now they come into a city. Now, guys, this is the halacha of ir nidachas. An ir nidachas is very interesting. Let's go two things in ir nidachas. If a person's oiv avodah zarah, what's he chayiv? Skila. What about his property? You can't touch it. It's fine. Property stays within the family. It's not a problem. That's for an individual. If a Jewish city, Roiv of the city, is what does avodah zarah, then they killed by Saif. They get killed by the sword. The Chol Shalom lovers, and all their property is what is burnt. Okay, so now, so here's this guy's traveling. He comes to the city, and now the city becomes an Erni Dachas. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says never was one. Uvehutcha imahem, and he was taken by the avodah zarah of the people of the city. Hein beskila, these people, the chameres, the gamelis, they're beskila. Umemoinam palat, and they're much paid. In other words, they're judged like a yachid. They're not judged like what, even though they're being chayiv misa for skila for an erni dachas, but it's not halacha of erni dachas. It has the halacha of a yachid. It has the halacha of a yachid. In nishtu sham shleisha yoim, if they're there for 30 days, hein b'sayif, then they get sayif, which is the halacha of erni dachas. Avad, and their money is lost, their possession is destroyed. What's the stira? You see, to be part of a city, you only have to be there what for 30 days, not 12 months. So Amarav Kasha, Ha lebnei Masa, Ha Yisuve Masa. There's a difference. By any dachas, it says Yoshvei Ha'ir, the residents of the city. Bnei Masa means the members of the city. To be a member of the city, it's 12 months. To be a city sitting in the city, that's 30 days. And therefore, by Erni Dachas, where it says Yoshvei Ha'ir, then it's about 30 days. Kidetanya. Amuda Name Anshe Ha'ir, someone who makes Amuda Hano, he won't have enough from the members of the city. Kolchin Ishtar Sham Shnei Masach Chaydesh Asur Honas Mimenu. Pachas Mikan Muta. Less than that, he could have enough. Yoshvei Ha'ir, if he made a ned not to have enough from Yoshvei Ha'ir, Kolchin Ishtar Sham Shloshim Yoim Asur Honas Mimenu. So you see the difference between guys Anshe Ha'ir and Yoshvei Ha'ir. Yoshvei Ha'ir is a different thing. Pachas Mikan Muta Honas Mimenu. Ulachol Mili, it says the Gemara, Ulachol Mili, and before this, you're not going to Layav Midi and Bnei Ha'ir. Before this amount of time, you don't give right. Me being your base chaydesh. In other words, I'll show you things that they're going to be mitzvah for the people of the city, even though it's less than 12 months. But Tanya, shleishim yoy letamchui, in order to go ahead and give to the communal pot, to give food to the pot, is 30 days. Shleisha chadashim lekupa, to give money to the kupa tzedakah, for the needs of the aniyim, is 3 months. Shisha liksus, 6 months in the city to go ahead and give to the Salvation Army. Tisha likfura, 9 months in the city to be mitzvah for the Chevra Kedisha. Shnei masa lepasei ha'ir, and 12 months for pasei ha'ir. Pasei ha'ir, Rashi, the Aruch says, karshe eitz lechazik sha'ir, boards to mechazik the what. So therefore, Fred the Gemara, you're telling me to have to go ahead and donate to the city is 12 months. I just gave you a whole bunch of things, right? Even less than months, 3 days, 30 days, 6 months. Says, guys, what was our mission discussing? Our mission was discussing giving into what the walls, giving in the walls. And pasir is the walls. In other words, you're right. The dinner 12 months, but Einachinami for all the other things, it would be 3 days, 3 months, and so forth. From Rabasi, Rabbi Yochanan, I call the Pasir ear. You can collect for the boards of the city, Bafilimi Yasme, even from the Yisraelim. Al Rabbanan Loy. The Rabbanan do not have to go ahead and give for the security walls. The Rabbanan Loy Tzrichin Tirusa, because the Chachamim do not require what to be guarded. Amrav Papa, Lishura, for fixing the wall, Ula Parsha'a, and for the guys on horses who would go around, Ula Tarzina, and not Tarzan, Ula Tarzina, the people who watch the armaments, Afilu Miyasme, you collect the assignment, Al Rabbanan Leitzrichani Tirusa, the Rabbanan do not require to be watched. Follow the mill, so what's the rule of thumb? Anything they have enough from, Afilu Miyasme, you can go ahead and collect the assignment. If the assignment having enough, you can collect from your assignment. Rabba Rama Tzedakah Yasmi. Rabba place your assignment on Rabba Rama Tzedakah Yasmi de Bei Bar Merion. So Rashi doesn't tell you who Bei Bar Merion is, but if you have the old Gemaras, Rabbeinu Gershom says the bottom line, Bar Merion Ish echad haya asher gadol. He was very, very wealthy. Towards the end, Baruch. Ish echad, 3/4. Ish echad haya asher gadol. But Miriam was a very wealthy guy. So obviously he left his kids a lot of money. And when they collect tzedakah, Rabbi would collect from these Yisraelim. Rabbi would collect from these Yisraelim. So Amalei Abaya to Rabbi, I've Tani Rav Shmuel by Yehuda, Ein Paiskin tzedakah al Yisraelim. You don't place tzedakah on Yisraelim. Vafilu pidyon shvuyin. Even for the biggest mitzvah of pidyon shvuyin, you don't do. Amalei, so Rabbi said, Ano lach shevinu kavdinon. I did this what? To be machshav them. In other words, can you imagine you're a gevir otzum, and they make a gevia, your father just died, and you have tons of money, and what? They don't collect from you? You know, adrabah. By going ahead and making them different than other assignment, you're being machshav them. And why the halacha we just said? And well, kol milsa, this lay hana, all things that you have hana from, you could collect from your assignment. So now, by being machshav them, they're getting hana. So if you're getting hana, right, you can collect from them. Geschmack. Ifris Hermes, okay, now Ifris Hermes was Ehima the Shava Malka. Now, we met Shava Malka at the end of Bab Mitzvah. He was a king, a Persian king, and his mother's name was Ifra Hermes. Now, Ifra Hermes is, just for the etymology of her name, we'll see Taisos, and then we'll tell you a Rashi in Highness. Ifra Hermes, Rashi Taisos says, Pirish Rabbeinu Chananel, the Mashmoyes Halashon is Chein, Me'es HaMakam. Ifra. She is chein. She has graciousness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ifra k'maya piryun nimtayel Reb Shimon. That's the last words in Baba Metzia, guys. Chein we extend to Reb Shimon. Hormiz is Shem Shchina. Kehi to say perik echadini maminis. So this, guys, according to this, is Ifra Hermes. She has the chein of the Shchina. Ul the Hermes bezayin maflaga ultachas the Hermin benun. K'maya Hermin bar Lilis. Come on. So Herman Bar Lilsa, not of Munster's fame, Dr. Press. Okay, so not of Munster fame. It seems to be that Herman was the son of Lilith, who was the mother of all demons. So the player Tysus is saying Hermiz is okay, Hermin is not okay. However, Rashi in Highness, in Nida, Daf Chafa Mid Beis, it said she had the beauty of a shade. She was like bewitching her beauty. Anyways, that's it's if you little tangential stuff. Okay. Anyway, Heshi, it's not bewitched. Okay. You're bringing 60s television. What do you get? You get Monsters and Bewitched.
Eddie's not listed.
What?
Eddie's not listed.
As we were saying, if for her is Ima the Shava Malka, Shadra Arnuka the Dinri Lakamei the Rabbi Yosef. She sent a bunch of money to Rabbi Yosef. Amr Lahabe Lemitzvah Rabba. It should be for a big mitzvah. Yosef Rabbi Yosef come Ayimba, my mitzvah Rabba. What's a big mitzvah Rabba we could use it for? Amr Yabai the Tani Rav Shmuel by Yehuda in Paiskin it's stuck al Yisraelim. I feel the pidyon shvuyin. You don't make them pay even for pidyon shvuyin. Shmamino amid beis that pidyon shvuyin mitzvah Rabba. Pidyon shvuyin is a mitzvah Rabba. Amay Rabba le Rabba bar Mari. Mino milsa don Rabbanan the pidyon shvuyin mitzvah Rabba. How do you know? Amalei dechsiv v'hay ki yomru alecha ano neitzei v'amid aleihem koyam Hashem ashel l'mavis l'mavis v'ashel l'cherev l'cherev v'ashel l'rov l'rov v'ashel l'shevi l'shevi. So we're going in order of difficulty. So the first thing is l'mavis is a regular natural death. Then cherev is decapitation. Then rov, which is worse than death, and then mat capture. So you see, being captured is the worst thing. Rashi says because they could do anything to you, as it says right over here now. Anything that came delayed in the pasuk is more difficult than the other one. So cherev kashmi maves. How do I know that a natural death is worse than a cherev? I could say a pasuk. I say a svara. Ibay same as svara. I kamenavo. I like kamenavo. Natural death, you're not mutilated, and by the cherev you are. Ibay same akra. It says Yaka b'nei Hashem hamavsel chasidov. All right, so you see that mavsaf is Hashem's chosen as a natural death. Rav kasher micherev. Ibay same as svara. How do you know Rav is more than it's a svara? I come at sar. I come at sar. Rav, that you're in constant sar. Everybody saying akra toivim hayu chalei cherev mechalei Rav. The better is the death, the people of the corpses of cherev than the corpses of Rav. Shevi kashim mikulam the kula isnu beit. All these are included in when a person is under the jurisdiction, right? Look at the top Rashi. Shevi kula isnu ba shehu biyad ha'akum lasois ma kol cheftzai. They could do they could do whatever they want to them. Im lamaves, im lecherev, im larav. So therefore, it's the worst thing, and therefore you know it's a mitzvah rabbah. That pigeon shving is a mitzvah rabbah. Tan Rabbanan, kupa shel tzedakah nigvais b'shnayim. The kupa of tzedakah to collect the gabay of tzedakah to collect tzedakah, you need two people. Mischalekes b'shleisha, and it's divided up with three people. Nigvis b'shnayim, it's going to head out and collected by two people. Shein oisin shroris ala tziba pachas b'shnayim. You don't give a person of authority on a tzibur less than two people. The Gemara is going to see what exactly is by collecting tzedakah. What's the authority? Where you're pushing things? Okay, u'mischalekas b'shnayim and b'shleisha, and it's divided up b'shleisha. Kedinei maminis, like dinei maminis, like every dinei maminis, like a Sanhedrin where you have three. So dinei maminis is divided by three. So tamchui is the food collectors. Nignis b'shleisha, mischalekas b'shleisha. Shegavu b'chaluka shavim. In other words, if you collect it with two, and you're gonna have to divide with three, so since it's food and you want to go ahead and do it immediately, why bother looking for the third person? So therefore, you don't collect with two, you collect with three. Tamchui b'chol yoim. Tamchui you collect every day, food for every day for aniyim, and kupa me'erev Shabbos once a week. Tamchui la'niyei olam. Tamchui food is for what aniyei olam, as we saw in the Marsha. Right, any ani can come and be mefarnes. Kupa la'niyei ear is for the people of your city. V'shoim b'nei ear lasses kupa tamchui, but tamchui kupa, and the people of the city, depending on the time, if they have more aniyim coming from all over, they can go ahead and use it for that, and they could collect that way or that way. Either way, it depends. Rashi says, fellas. Lasses kupa tamchui l'chalik la'niyei olam im yibu alayim. Let's say you have a lot of aniyei olam, so therefore you will only give to aniyei of your city. You would give to them as well. And you can go ahead and take the tzedakah and change it for what you want. Okay, now this is a Tosfos, guys, a very famous Tosfos. Let's speak out the Tosfos. There's certain mitzvahs that are called mitzvahs essay shemat and schar mitzida. That the Torah, most of the mitzvahs, we don't know the schar of a mitzvah. Schar mitzvah b'hayal malek, it's in the next world. But there's certain mitzvahs we know that matan schar b'tzida. The classic is kibbut avein. L'man yirichin yemecha, you promised long life. Shalech the shalach hasein. You're going to get that sent away. So these are mitzvahs essay that shematan schar b'tzida. So tzedakah also is a mitzvahs essay shematan schar b'tzida. And the halacha is, the chayr for that you can't change. So let's see Taisus. Well, l'shanas chol mashiyert. So near l'rbeinu tam, the chayil mishnanaisai after the rishus. You can even go ahead and use the money for tzedakah for the rishus. Afagav darinim be'erchim be'perakama haiman the nadav sharga lebei kanishta. A guy gives a nadava of candles to beis knesses. Also l'shanas l'davar rishus. V'amanami hasam. Okay, this is not the Rashi. I wanted the next Taisus, but anyway, let's skip. He would use the kupa of tzedakah to pay the security guards. My son, because what it was given, Bnei gave him to do what you want with it. Okay, so we're going to wait for that Taisus. That's going to be the next Taisus. We didn't get to the Gemara yet. I just jumped the gun. Back in the Gemara. They can go ahead. They can make a pound 17 ounces, not 16. They could set the price, the same prices. They can control the prices. They can, to stop inflation or price gouging. They can go ahead and control the prices. Schar poilim. They can go ahead and schar poilim. They could playing hard to get tonight. No. That's okay. Anyway, and the schar poilim, that if the people get paid a certain amount, they can set a price according to begin. Be sure they can make a condition to make it get 3, they can make it 2, says Rabbeinu Geshem. Well, let's see al kitzason, right? I don't know. Rashi says, "Liknois esa oiver al kitzas devrayim, lasia midas din Torah," and they can go ahead what and they could kansa people who over what on the words that they said. Okay, this is all that they can do. What? Amamar in oisin shroris alatziba pachas. Going back over to Basra. In oisin shroris alatziba pachas mishnayim. You don't have a gabbai tzedakah less than 2 because it's a position of shroris. Now, how do you know Mnani Mili? So Rav Nachman says by the Mishkan, Amakra, the Haim Yichwes Azav, the Haim is they. So you see, you need 2. Shrarois, who do have they? But Shrarois, one person cannot go be Gabet Tzedakah, himnam himnam, but he would be believed that Messiah, that Reb Chanina, Reb Chanina, Maisa, Umina, Rebbe, Shnei Achim ala Kupa. He had 2 Gabet Tzedakahs, were brothers, and brothers are believed as one. Rashi says. Maishar Rusa, what's the position of authority of the Gabbai Tzedakah? Rav Nachman, Rabbi Baravua, if you should mashkin al tzedakah, vafil be'erev Shabbos. You could take a mashkin. If the tzedakah, if the guy doesn't want to give, you could take a mashkin. So that's a position of authority. You're forcing the issue, right? So since you could force the issue, you're going to go ahead right and feel it's a position of 2. Right? It says, I'll visit evil on all oppressors. Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta, Mishmei Derav, Vafilu al Gabay Tzedakah, even when on a Gabay Tzedakah. So l'chayr what you see, you can't force. So what's the difference? Hada Amid, Hada Lo Yamid. You can force if the guy's wealthy. Hada Amid, if he's wealthy, you can force. Hada Lo Yamid, if he's not wealthy, you can't force. Ki Hada Rabba Ichbal Rav Nasan Barami v'Shakim Minei Arba Mei Azuzi L'Tzedakah. So Rav Nasan Barami is very wealthy, and Rava, who was the Gabbai Tzedakah, he forced him to give what? So here's the kasha. The kasha is, how can you force him? Let's see that twice just now, quickly. Achbel Rav Nasan Toima. But Perikol Basra Amar Kol Mitzvah Shishman Schar Ksuva B'Tzid. Any mitzvah say that the schar is written by the side. Ein Bezdin Shal Matam Ushar Naleha. Bezdin can't force the issue. Gabbai Tzedakah Ksiv Ki Pesach Tiftach Es Yadcha Loi Ksiv Ki Begal Davazeh Yivarecha. You'll be gebenched. So you see that tzedakah is a matan schar b'tzida. So if a matan schar b'tzida, you can force. How is it Rav Nasan able to go ahead and how is Rabbi able to force Rav Nasan to give? The high kfiyah b'dvarim, kfiyah. In other words, that was kfiyah b'dvarim. So Rabbeinu Tam wants to say there's a difference between physical, psycho. How should we say? Physical enforcement. If a guy doesn't want to give a get, you beat the daylights out of him. That's kfiyah, and what kfiyah with words. So Rabbeinu Tam wants to say that matan schar b'tzida is only physical enforcement, and therefore when Rav forced Rav Nasan, it was what with words. It was kfiyah words. Ulari nira the b'tzedakah koifin mishum d'isbu lav tzedakah you would, but it's not only mitzvah essay, there's a lav as well. Chsiv ba loy satmates es levavcha don't loy sikmates. So in other words, according to the Ri, since there's a lav associated with the assay, there would be you could do it kfiyah. Ularitzba nira the hadein bezdin musharin al mitzvah essay sheman schar b'tzida. Why is the bezdin not warned to go ahead and apply and punish? They can't punish you. That he wasn't giving kiva to his father, the kaftu, and they tied him up. Leave him alone. Have a prusha inachas misharim lachricha. You're not einchem musharim lachricha. You don't have to force him. So the Ritzpah says that the bezdin can punish the guy. Ein nashim, they can't punish the guy, but l'chayr they could force the guy. Okay, anyway. So we have a few terutzim to answer this famous kasha, either because with words, or because there's a lav, or because it says that you can't punish, but you could force. 3 different shittas in the Bali Taisvus. Says the Gemara Vaita. Maskilin yashiru kazarak here. The wise, they're zahir, like they shine like the lights of the rakia. Said dayin shadon dinemis lamitai. Umatstike rabim kichavim. Those are matzdik rabim loyal vayad. They're forever like stars. Elai gabet elu gabet tzedakah. These are gabet tzedakah. Rasisan Tanav Maskil Miasiru Kuzara Kia Zed Dayan Shadon Den MS, Lamitoy, the Gavit Tzedaka, Matsliki Gavit Tzedaka, Matsliki Rabin Kachav, Loilam, Ved Elam Lam Tanaka. So again, so the question is who would like the Kechavim? It's either Gavit Tzedaka or it's like the Malam Tanaka. Marsha says beautifully that the Kechav it's far away, it's very dark and it lights up things. Gavit Tzedaka, he gives money clandestinely, like the you don't know, you don't see it. Elam Malam Tanaka. Kigain Man. Amarav Kagan Rav Shmuel Bar Shilis, the Rav Ashkel Rav Shmuel Bar Shilis, David Beginni, so he was sitting in a garden. It was his garden. Amalei Shaf Kwasi Lem Nusach. So Rav said to Rav Shmuel Shilis, you left your troop, you left your boys. Amalei Hatlisa Shana Lechazili. This 13 years since I haven't seen this property, this garden. I'm still thinking about what? I'm thinking about what these people. Rabbana, what about Rabbana and Mai? Ravina, the Ohav. It says Hashemish B'Varasai, and those that who are Kadosh Baruch Hu loves, who love Him, Kadosh Baruch Hu, he loves. They love Kadosh Baruch Hu. They're like the Son B'Varasai. They're like the Son B'Varasai. So Pashat, you learn that Rabbanon guys are those Kechav going up in Darga, right? For Rabbanon, if Malamdi Kneikus are the Kechav and what the Rabbanon like, they're like what stars. They're like the Shemesh. So that's Pashup Shop. But if you look at, I sent out another thing, a Ben Yada. Just push it, you'll get the other one. Nearly, the Siyata de Shmaya Tam, the Dimo is some Kechavim, Yan Ki Kechavim Nirin. The stars, they appear smaller than the sun. They're even bigger than the sun. Because of the great height, they appear small, they're so far away. When the kudais, the taime umikra, they teach you put a kid on his feet, you teach him the aleph beis, the vowels, the trup. Who ain't a nechshav kol kach b'nei abriyas? People say, oh, he's a P1A teacher. It's not considered like anything. Ach be'emes malasa gedolim ha'oid. Is tremendous. Ya'an ki hu malamid lehevel shein b'chet. He says, what does the world stand on? That the hevel of Tinaika shel beis rabin. The Tinaika shel beis rabin, the hevel, it stands on them. So they're teaching people who are clean. They have no chet. So they're teaching these kids Torah in its purest form. And therefore, their mile is even greater. They teach in the beginning. It's even more. Okay, Ubeni Beni Adam, it says that it's less. So it's very interesting. According to this, that he's bigger. The Malami Tanoikis is bigger than the sun, because the Kechavim are bigger than the sun. Rav Pam Zatzal said a wonderful, wonderful thing. Why is a teacher compared to a star? Why is it compared to a star? See, a star, when it emits its light, it takes, when you get it, it could have been emitted years and years and years ago, and it finally reaches Earth. And the teacher, you never know, what you do something, you say something to somebody, you don't know years later what the impact it can be. And some people, I speak about my Rebbe, I speak about my Rebbe's yard sites today. Just a short story. I was going through a very, very tough time in my life, and he was very, very kind, and I was questioning whether I should. I used to work Pesach in a hotel. I was questioning whether I should go back, whether it was the right thing for me to do. And I was driving him around, and I left him, and I said goodbye. I left him, and for the first time in my life, something odd happened. This person stopped. He kissed me on this cheek, and then he kissed me on this cheek. And I have not been the same since that kiss. That kiss made my life. That kiss took away all the pain of my high school years, where if anyone touched me, I would have broke their arm. I mean, the kiss, it was, I felt like when I saw that, it said that Shmuel kissed Shaul. When it came to David, he just poured out, the shemen was boiling to come out. But Shaul wasn't a natural king. He was from Binyamin. He wasn't from Yehuda. So in order to make him a king, he had to elevate him, and he kissed him. It was Neshika Shel Gedula, that Neshika. My Rebbe Zatzal gave me that Neshika, and anything in my life I owe is because of that kiss. The Shamash and Aliyah.